Okay. All right, so it starts off pretty chill, right? Um, I'm hoping if you don't remember, it's the time to review, right? So it's always X first and then Y. So your X axis is down here, Y is right here. You can see it labeled. So all they want to know is what is the location for Rome. So go to Rome and say, okay, well, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it looks like, right? Yeah. And then you go down all the way to -8. So this would be, what would be this point? Yeah, so just the X first, then the -8. And this is the first quadrant. Everything in here is the positive. They usually use Roman numerals in the book. This is second quadrant, third quadrant. It goes counterclockwise. Okay. Fourth. So this is the way I think about it. This is the positive section for the X, right? Plus plus. That's what I mean by this. Pretend they're 2 points. Over here, we have negative for the X, so it'll be minus plus, because we're above the X-axis, right? See how these are all positive? So the Y is plus. Over here, everything's negative, so minus X. Down here, everything is negative. It's the opposite of quadrant one, so this would be minus, minus. Over here, X is positive again, but we're still at the bottom, so the Y's are still negative. So this would be plus, minus. So as long as you remember what goes first, you remember your signs, you should be good. Is there any issues with plotting points? Because this is review, but just in case you forgot, now's the time to let me know. So far, it's okay, right? Okay. And it's going to start off slow, so that doesn't mean you shouldn't, not watch the videos and not do the homework, because eventually it'll get difficult. Okay, so now's the time to practice and make sure you remember. All right, let me pick another question. You guys are good then. I clicked a new question. Can you see it?
Yes, I see it.
Okay, cool. So here, let's just go ahead and click it. So -2 and 3. So where's it? What do we do first?
X and Y.
Yeah, so do the X part first, right? Yeah. So -2 would be over here, and then do the Y part. So this basically means -2 to the left, up 3. -2, +3. So nothing crazy. Does anyone have any issues plotting points? Okay. This time you tell me.
I have a question.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Do I always have to write the X first? Like,
Yeah, start with the X and move the direction it's telling you, and then do the Y. That way you won't mess it up. So if it's
okay,
negative, then you go to the left. If it's positive, you go to the right. So X will always be horizontal. Y will
okay,
be
thank
up and down.
you. Okay. Horizontal.
Okay. So remember, we don't have a picture. Remember we said this first location is plus plus, right? So anything that's positive, positive has to be quadrant one. Anything that's, and then the opposite side is negative, negative. Over here, negative, positive, positive, negative. And this is for x, comma, y. So for the first one, which quadrant are we in?
Quadrant 3?
Quadrant three. Yeah, because it's going to go clockwise, right? We said it's going to be one, two, three, four. I'll put that down here. I'm running with my mouse, so forgive me. It looks like garbage. Okay, so this is three, right?
Yes.
What about the second one?
2?
Two.
Two, right? Yeah, minus plus. These are both positive, so
1?
one. Whenever there's a zero, that's when we start talking about an axis.
Y.
Yeah, so we don't move anywhere on the x, but we go up five. So we would land right here on the x-axis. So if there is no x, if the x is zero, we're on the y. If the y is zero, then we're on the x. Okay. There any questions on quadrants? Do you remember the quadrants and do you see why they're plus and negatives and etc.? Is that okay? Any questions on this one?
No, sir.
Okay. Alrighty. Let's pick another question then. We'll move on to something else. So the first three questions in 5.1, assignment number one, is just can you plot points? Can you figure out where the point's at? And can you talk about quadrants? So quadrant one, two, three, four. Okay. Estimate the x and y intercepts. So intercept is whenever you touch an axis. So here we're touching one, right? There. And here. Looks like we're touching three spots, right? So what are those points? So this one's pretty easy, right? What's that one?
That one's 0.
So
Another one would be 6.
Is it six first or second?
The 6 is second. The first is 0, and then second is 6.
Yeah, if we are on an axis, there has to be a zero somewhere. If we're on the y, then
Yeah.
the x has to be zero. If we're on the x-axis,
Be 8, 0.
right? So that's all they want for the first question. Plug in the intercepts for x and y. So which ones are the x-intercepts? Which
8.
ones are the y?
Oh, does it have to be in order, or you just can put them like what you think it is?
Just you can put them in any order.
Oh,
So use this button here, make your point. So x-intercept would be
no. 2 times 0.
This one's in the origin, so technically it's
Oh,
both. But let's see what happens. It might not like it. Y-intercept, we're up there, 0, 6. Let's test it. We should have 0, 0, 2. Because at the center, we're technically on both axes at the same time. Usually we just call it the origin. So I could argue that it's both, but let's see.
oh, it did talk correct.
Oh, there's a check mark. Okay. So yes. So the origin is considered an x-intercept and a y-intercept. 8, 0 is only on the x. 0, 6 is only on the y.
Okay. Can I see the answer? I'm gonna write notes about it.
Yeah, so just write them as, make sure you write them as points. Okay.
Yes. And then the Y. Oh, 6. Okay.
Have
I'm
any,
writing notes on this example so when I get to another one that looks the same, I can go back on the example and try to figure it on my own.
yeah, that's a good idea.
This is my second time about math and I don't want to retake this class.
No, I wouldn't want you to either. As fun as it is
Oh,
to see all over and over again now.
I have one question.
Hmm.
When I was doing the re responders locker whatever browser,
Yes.
um, it said to put the name of the professor, but I thought your name is Jack Gonzalez, but your name was not there, so it was some lady Harry
Oh,
Potter.
yeah. My bad. Probably change that. Yeah, one of my coworkers sent me that a practice test. So oh, let me use that to test their technology. But I didn't change the name. My bad.
Yeah,
But the point
yeah.
is, does it work? And did your camera turn
It
on?
does work. It does work because I did the quiz. The other answer I got it correct,
Mhm.
and that one I got it incorrect. But it showed in the grades that I got a 50 because of it. So I'm like, at least it did record.
Oh,
It
true.
did submit. It did submit the grade and everything was connected. So it did work though.
Okay. Yeah, I'll make sure to fix that. No, don't worry about it.
Okay. I'm like, let me make sure I
Yeah,
put
because
that.
it counts as a homework, so I'll make sure everybody everyone who took it gets 100 for sure.
Yes. I'm like, his name is not Harry Potter.
My bad. I'm sorry about that.
Which one was homework and 100, sir?
The checking respondus assignment.
Oh yeah, I got 100 on that one.
Okay, cool.
How? If you didn't know the professor's name.
I guess he retook it until he got it right, maybe. I don't know.
I took it a second time and got it right.
Hmm.
Oh, I didn't do that. I should have done that. Nah, I'm good.
It's okay.
I just left it alone because I assumed that it was going to be fixed later on. I still took it. I just completed it just to complete it. I assumed it was going to be fixed later on.
Yeah, it'll be fixed. The point was just to make sure your respondus works.
Okay.
That's that's the only thing that matters. It's not anything else.
File one section.
Okay. So what do y'all think the x and y intercepts are for this line?
X is 0
0?
and
There doesn't
oh
seem to
wait,
be.
no, this one is none. There's none.
There's
Oh, we
no
don't.
X, Y.
There's no X. There's only a
Oh,
Y.
well, there is a Y, yeah, but no X.
Yeah, so no x-intercept. It's just a horizontal line, and it
And there's
hits.
-3.
It
So
would be -3.
as a point, how would you write it?
Uh,
Mm-hmm. 0, -3.
0, -3.
Yeah, that's it. Any questions on the horizontal type? Exercise 52. This is the same.
That is the same.
So real quick, what's the answer? And then we'll move on.
X is none, and then graphically it would be 0 and -2.
Yeah. So far, not too bad. Remember, I can't
Yeah.
tell if it's, no matter what the topic is, if it's super easy or super hard, you gotta tell me. If you're struggling, just let me know. I'm hoping it's okay so far.
So far, I've been understanding everything.
Okay. So same stuff, but now it's a different type of function.
Uh, I, this one goes in order, doesn't it? So it would be -4 and then 0 for the x-intercepts.
Yeah, -4, 0 is the only x. So, oops, forgot the other ones. And the y's would be,
-5, 0, and 3.
well, the x always comes first. So 0, -5, right?
Yes.
Make sure you put commas in between points or they might mark it wrong. So you have a little comma here. 0, 3, we said. Oops. That was number 53. Okay. Any questions on this one?
No, not that I know of. I just
I have
Yeah, just
one
let me know.
for
Sure.
for future references. When we see more questions like this, will they always have to be starting from the lowest negative number when listing it?
Only if they tell you. If they straight up say put it at least to greatest, then you have to. But they didn't say, so it should be fine. It should be smart enough to accept either way.
Okay,
But I think I have seen where they tell you or put it in order.
yeah, from my experience so far, this thing is very specific on what it wants for an
Mhm.
answer.
It is. I want to say if it doesn't straight up tell you, you should be good. But always read the fine print. Okay. This is similar. Let's try something different. So I'm going through your homework problems. I'm hoping y'all saw the videos and are have the background. Okay, so for these, we want to actually work things out. You could graph it and look at it, but let's solve these on paper. This is 5.1. I don't know what question number it was. $5.56. The number 11. So this is 11 from the homework. I'll switch back in a second here. Can y'all see the notepad okay? You can maximize it if you can't. Problem 11. Find the x and y intercepts. So I'm going to show you how to do it in general. So this works for any function or graph or whatever. Even though this is pretty easy, I'm going to show you the general way first. So make some notes here, for y-intercepts. Let x equal 0 and solve for y. So here we go. Plug in your 0. This is going to be gone, right? What would be our next algebra step? To solve for y.
Divide by -4.
Yeah. So both sides divide by -4. There we go. So this is your y-intercept. So y-intercept is 0 because we plugged in 0. -3 is what we found. Okay. So this is the procedure for any kind of equation or graph or function. Okay. Now let's do x-intercept. And I know it might be obvious to some of you what the answer is, but this is how you do it to show your work, but also if it's not easy or if it's hard, this is the steps. Okay. We'll let y equal 0 and solve for x. Okay. So that will be gone. What is our next algebra step?
You divide it by -3.
Mm-hmm. So 12 divided by negative, that'll be -4, right? So how do we write this as the answer, as an ordered pair? As a point.
-4, 0.
Yeah. Any questions on finding intercepts?
Do you always want us to write it as an ordered pair, or do you just, does it matter?
I prefer an ordered pair all the time. That way it's clear. It's a point, it's right here.
Okay.
But yeah, on the exam, I expect you to show your steps and your work as well. Okay. Any questions on number 1?
Just one thing. This is the x-y intercept equation you do, right?
Yeah, we're just solving for x and y intercepts given an equation right here. So they gave us this,
And
and then we plugged in our zeros, found the points.
and then another question, that's gonna be a part of our first test, right?
Most likely, yeah.
All right.
I think the first 4 or 5 sections is test 1.
Yeah.
Any other questions on number 1 here?
That's about it for me. I don't know about anyone else.
I heard you say we can craft it. How's that? How do you craft it? Like, do you have to have your own calculator, or there is any way that Alex or whatever can do it, like in the app?
Well, I would probably say use Desmos. Here, let's do it on there.
Desmos, is it like an online calculator?
Let me show. Also, let me put the link for you. So it's a website that does really nice graphing.
Okay,
So here you can check your work super quick in here. I'll put it in the
I'm
chat.
gonna save it. I'm gonna save it on my computer then.
But
Could
here,
you put
This is
that
good.
link in Remind as well?
Yeah, I will. I will. I actually could do that now.
Hmm. Very interesting. X minus 4y equals 12.
Okay. Let me put, okay. Can y'all see the website, the grapher?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and I tried that problem that you gave us that we were just practicing on the paper, and it did give the answer real fast.
Yeah, so we can check it real quick because once you see it, it's clear, right? There's intercepts right there. If you know what intercepts are, you can find them. And,
Yeah,
but algebraically, we do it like this on the paper. Okay.
which is more work.
Yeah, it is. But it
So,
makes you practice your algebra and your division and also showing your steps, which is important.
I was
mhm.
gonna ask, is this the same, I know you said like this is the homework question 11, is this on Alex or it's like in the ebook or it's the
It's
same?
in Alex. So in class, I'm always going to do the homework problems, and so that way you know how to do them. But when
Oh,
you're not in class, I expect you to watch the videos and look at those examples. That way you are prepared. Okay.
okay.
Okay, what was that? Well, that's pretty much it. Let's talk about domain and range. So domain always pertains to the x values. So these are all the x values here. So all the inputs. So h is some sort of relation. It might not be a function, but it does something, right? So basically it takes these inputs, -2, 1, and -7, and it spits out 4, 4, -2. But you never repeat them when you write these answers. So domain, remember, you make sure you don't repeat yourself. Oh, they want it as a set. So you put in these little braces means you have a set of elements or set of answers. So -2, 1, -7. Hold on a second. Someone's okay. Range, we have 4. Oh, we need my braces first. So see how I'm not repeating the 4 because it appeared twice? So just one time. So domain is the set of inputs. Range is its where it went. Okay. So visually, you can visualize it this way. Imagine a set called as domain. It's an ugly D here. Try that again. Okay. So here's where -2 lives. 1 and what is it? 1 set -7. Okay. And then we have the range over here somewhere. This is 4. Put a little point there, point. And the other point is -2. Okay, there we go. So H is what sends them over there. So it takes elements in the domain. H sends -2 to 4. H sends, so this is H right here, doing its thing. 1 is sent to 4 as well. and it sends -7 to -2. So that's what a relation is. It's relating elements in some set, sending it to another set. So they're related together. Okay. That's all this is. These sets and relations and functions can be almost anything, but in general, this is what it is. It could be things in real life, could be numbers, could be functions, could be equations. It depends. Anyway, any questions on this problem here?
No, but I would like just a small summary of it again, just a quick summary.
Yeah, so a relation takes elements in the domain and relates
Mhm.
them to elements in the range.
Yeah,
So the way I think of it is it's mapping these over there.
yeah,
So later when we talk about functions, it could be like the function does +2. So it takes numbers, adds 2 to every input that you plug in. That would be a function sending something in the domain to a range. But a function has a specific definition, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Relation is very similar, but it's not a function. Because notice how -2 and 1 went to the same place.
yeah. It's strange.
So whenever you have two elements going to the same spot, that violates the definition of a function. So that's why it's a relation.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions?
So,
Just give me 1 second. I'm gonna write it down so I don't forget.
Yeah, no worries.
I'm gonna make notes. Okay, right. Um, 1, 4. Main X -2. 1. Okay, I got it.
Okay. Let's do another one. This is the last question in the homework. Here they're using points and talking about domain and range. So same stuff. So take all the x values, put them in here, because instead of giving us all the points, they just gave us a graph. So that's exactly the same. So let's start from left to right, it doesn't matter. What is this point here?
Mm,
That would be -2,
-2,
4.
4. So we could do both at once if you want. So the domain
So
value,
yeah, the first domain would be -2,
and then it's being related to
4.
map to 4. Okay. Now I'm just look at the next x. You don't have to do it that way if you don't want to. You can just do all the x's and then do all the y's. Doesn't matter. Next point is what?
-1. Or no,
Oh, no.
sorry, 0.
Yeah, 0, -1. So it'd be 0 for the x, -1 for the y. Next point is 1, 1, 1, right?
Yes.
And the last point, what is it?
4, 2.
So x is 4, y is 2. Any questions where the domain values came from or the range values?
Yeah, so did you just like put it where it belongs? Like
Yeah.
you just put
Yeah,
it.
domain are all the X parts.
All right.
So you look at all these points and write down the X's, make sure, and then you never repeat elements in the set. So if anything
Yeah.
repeated, you wouldn't write it again.
Yeah.
So this one has a -2, this has a 0, this has a 1, this has a 4. So those are all right here. 1, 4, -1, +2 is coming from the Y values. So there's 1, 4, -1, 2. They put it in their own order. It's whatever. Doesn't matter. But does that make sense?
Yeah. With the 4, you don't put it again because it's already there. I get it.
Yeah.
And then putting it around the other ones with the points.
So you could write all the points first and then just write the X's down, write the Y's down. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. What would help me is if I like once I put it down, I usually cross it out. Once like I cross like if I did like 1, I'll cross both the ones out for me. Like if it was on paper.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That way you don't. I mean, I would recommend always doing these on paper if you can to practice, but also keep your stuff together because math is made to be done on paper and worked out. Okay. Well, that's 5.1. Any questions on 5.1? Can you find intercepts? Can you plot points? Given graphs, can you find intercepts? Can you find domain and range given a set or a collection of points? That's what we just talked about.
Not really much. Someone apparently they said yes.
Makes
Hey.
sense. Or do you have a question or you're saying it makes sense? Sorry, forgot what I asked.
We're allowed decimals, sir?
You can use decimals during homework. I don't know if
Yeah.
I can turn it on during exams.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on to the next one. Next section. That was unit 1, assignment 1. So assignment 2 is a co-rec assignment. So was assignment 3. So these are like the review sections, making sure in case you haven't done math in a while, these are made to help you out. So let's go through them. They're kind of short. I don't know. Can you see the new question?
Yes.
I see it.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it load automatically. Okay, so here they want to know if you remember how to plug in values into a function. So I'm gonna do this on paper. Write this question down. This is number 1. This is now by the name of the section. Oh. Evaluate f of x equal to 4x squared at x equal to 1. All right. So what they want to know is, do you remember what that means, right? So that means you plug in 1. So if you write it this way, f of 1 means you're inputting 1 into the function, and then you're going to get an output, which means you put it into every single x. and then you do your algebra. 1 squared is 1, 4 times 1 is 4. So the output is 4. The input is 1, which is the same as thinking of it as a point. So 1 comma 4. But they don't want the point, they want the result. They want the output. But all of this is the same. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if you see this notation, whatever's inside the parentheses, you're going to put it in for every x. I don't care if it's another letter or a fraction or a triangle, just do it and then see what happens. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the first one. You guys comfortable with the notation and what they're asking? Okay. So this is the same. We'll go ahead and do it, and then we'll move on to something else. We write it down. Evaluate f of x equal to 5x squared at 2.
So every time it's an x, you just plug in the 2 into the x, or?
And it doesn't have to be x, but whatever variable that they're talking about, yeah. So like if they say at x equal 2 and this is a bunch of x's, well, they always have to match. And they always will if they're asking you a question. But it could be w, could be y, be h. But yeah, if they tell you x equals 2, they mean input the 2 into the function and see what happens. So what is 2 squared?
4.
And then we do 5 times 4, 20, right? Any questions on the rules of operations? You see, we
What was
always,
the what was the first question you said?
um, what is 2
Make
squared?
it to get the 4, to get the 4.
Yeah, so we're doing the PEMDAS, right? So parentheses, exponents, and then
Mm-hmm.
multiplication, and then we're done.
So you multiply the inside 2 with the upper 2?
Yeah, so this square is only on whatever the parentheses is on. So 2 squared, it means 2 times 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that becomes 4, and then you do 5 times 4, which is 20. Don't
Okay.
forget your
So
rule.
x equal 20. And
Technically, these are the same level of priority, but we'll never write it this way. So parentheses, I think I've got an n, but who cares? Exponents, multiplication slash division, addition, subtraction. So basically, you go left to right, always left to right, and then whatever you see first that has this level of priority, you do that first. So I only have one term, but if I go left to right, I see parentheses and I see exponents. So that needs to be done first. Once that's done, I have multiplication. So that's done next. This one's very simple, so there's not a lot of complications, but this is always happening in the background, right? Any questions on these first two?
I have a
no, I think
question.
this is
Mhm.
So if we were gonna write it as the coordinates, would it be 2 and then the 20?
Oh yeah, good point. The location, the coordinate would be 2 for the x, 20 for the y. So the y is the output, the range value, right? Just like before.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see what's next. Now here, check it out. They're using the notation, right? What do we say this means? Look at A. What do they want me to do?
It wants you to plug in those numbers into the X.
Yeah. So we're plugging it into the function, which means every x is replaced by this, and then do it again with this one and this one. So over here, we can just do it on, well, I could do it on paper, I guess. That'd be better. Evaluate h of x equal to 3x minus 7. Part A is h of 0, and I'll switch in a second. Part B is h of 3. Part C is h of something. Okay. Now do each one on the paper. All right. So h of 0 means plug it in. This disappears. We get 0 minus 7, which is minus 7. H of 3 means plug in 3 and see what happens. We get 9 minus 7, which is 2. Part A, part B. Any questions so far? Okay. Next one. 3 times negative 2 minus 7. So that would be what? 3 times negative 2, what does that give us?
Negative
-6.
6,
So negative 6 minus 7, what does that give us?
negative
Negative 13.
13.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a question. So since when is it that the negative times or plus or times another negative cancel each other and becomes positive?
So if they're both positive, obviously it stays
Yeah.
positive, right? If they're both negative, it would become positive. So when they're different is the only time they become negative when we're talking about multiplication.
Okay. So since these two are being just add, they don't the signal like the sign doesn't change like the
Yeah, those rules are only for multiplication and division.
okay.
When we're adding and subtracting, you have to figure out where are we going, right? The best way to think about it is in terms of money for most people. Like, well, if I have $9 and I lose 7, well, here we go. If I have 0 and then I spend 7, well, that sucks. I'm negative 7 plus late fees or checking fees, whatever.
-14 already.
Yeah, negative and then more negative. Well, I should be more negative, right?
Yeah. Yeah. When you put it in money terms, I understand better.
Yeah, whenever you're adding and subtracting numbers, think about money. Okay. Oops. This is the same deal, so I'm gonna move on. I think that was 4. Yeah. This is number 5. Unless would you like to see this one or is it okay? It's up to y'all. If not, I'm gonna move on to something different. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, okay. We'll do one more, then we'll move on to a different type. We said this is number something. It's number 5. Yeah. I'm going to shorten up the question. So given this h function, find ABC. Let me switch over. Okay. So same stuff, except the function's a little more complicated. So 2 times 0 squared plus 4. 0 squared is still 0. 0 times 2 is 0. So we'd get 2 times 0 plus 4, which would be 0 plus 4, which is 4. If you skipped a couple in between steps, that's okay. But I'm not supposed to skip too much. Plug in your 5. Same thing, right? What's 5 squared?
25.
So that'll be 2 times 25 plus 4. So notice how we go left to right and then do the one in parentheses first. Exponents has highest priority. Parentheses and exponents. Now I'd go left to right. Multiplication and addition. Multiplication is higher on the priority, so I do that first. 2 times 25. The showing more steps helps you do the PEMDAS properly. If you're very comfortable with PEMDAS, then maybe you can skip half of these steps. Just be careful. So there we go. There we go. Any questions on A or B?
It just looks like what I'm understanding is you plug in the numbers you have into the X and then you solve it.
Yeah, you're just basically evaluating it, plugging in the number and adding stuff up, multiplying, etc.
Yeah,
You get an output.
I get it.
You could have multiple x's though. You could have x squared plus 4x plus whatever. You know what I mean? It just depends on h. H can be anything. It's not always a singular x, is what I'm saying. So -6 times -6, right? Squared is going to be positive, right? What's 2 times 36?
72.
Plus 4. Any questions on A, B, or C? All right. I think this next one is 7. Let me see. No. What? One second. Forgot where I was.
Um,
Okay, so here's number 6. I'm gonna move on here. This is again, all of these questions are going to be the same. We're just switching up the functions. Check this one out. So here it's a rational function, which is basically just a fraction type. So nothing changes except you have to do that subtraction at the bottom and see what happens. Do you see what number we can't plug in?
um, hmm. Like in the X, like
Yeah,
parentheses.
there's one x that is not allowed.
Um, you could do you could do a 6 because it would just be 1/1. Because oh wait, no, 1/2.
Yeah, 6 is no problem. That's true. All of these are fine. So we're not going to have any problems A, B, or C. But there is one x that is not allowed at all.
Is it 0?
If we plug in 0, we get -4, which is okay. But what would make the bottom 0? Because that's the problem, right?
The same number as the bottom number, which will lead to 0
Yeah.
because you can't divide by 0.
So the only one that we cannot use is this one. They're not asking, but they might later. Just remember, you can never have division by 0. So if they would have asked us to plug in 4, we would have should we can't. We just can't. J does not exist, or NA, or undefined, something like that. Given this g of x, find a g of 6. So that would be 1/6 minus 4, which would be 1/2. No issues here. Part B, g of -5 would be 1/-5 minus 4, which is 1/-9. Now, if you have a negative in the bottom, that is the same as having the negative in front or on top. But usually they prefer you put the negative in front.
Yeah, I was about to ask about that because the Alex required an answer with a negative in front.
So mathematically, these three right here are the same.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
usually we prefer this. Anyway, pick something else, I guess. Oh, well, there's part C. -3. Let's put the minus in front. Okay. Any questions on number 6 or number 5?
I think you forgot the negative. No, you did on that. It's -1/7.
Yeah, I should put it in front. Maybe that's a little exaggerated, but should be a little closer, I guess. Okay. We're just about done with the review section. I'm hoping that y'all had already looked through them a little bit and watched the videos. That way this is making even more sense or solidifying better. What was I? Oh yeah. Yeah, I have any questions on this one? Is this okay? I'm gonna move on to something else. Or does it seem weird?
I would like to do at least one of these ones and have it in a paper written.
Okay. Number 8. G of X. Okay.
Just a small thing, sir. Almost
Mhm.
like 9 minutes left. That's all I'm gonna say. It's almost 4:30.
Oh, our class will go until, let me see. Check, I already forgot. 6:25 is when we finish. The first part ends and then we start the correct part. So remember, think of it as one giant class all the way until 6:25.
For me, it says 5:25.
Oh, is it 5? Oh, I think you're
Yeah,
right. Let me double
yeah.
check.
Yeah, I thought it was 5:30. I'm like, oh my God, did it increase an hour more?
I know I was like
I'm like,
Oh, I
don't
think I
say.
six.
did the calendars wrong. Yeah, it's 5:25. So
Okay.
3:15 and 5:25, my bad. Don't get all scared, guys. Jeez.
Look at you.
No, you
You
scared
had
us
it
for a
little.
minute.
I was terrified, sir.
All of us.
You hurting my feelings over here.
I'm like, I'm liking it so far, but I don't think I can make it to one more hour.
Me neither.
Well, we do
It's
have
just
1 hour left, and
basically
not 2.
it's basically like the same. It'll be just the same stuff, but for an hour.
Yes, we have 1 hour left, and we'll take a little break in a sec. Okay, so here we go. So minus, what's this gonna be?
That would be a -3 plus 3 would be a 0, in my opinion. Just
Yeah,
Does it matter if you put the square root of 0? It should just be the 0 by itself.
square root of 0 is still 0.
Okay.
The only issue is when you have a negative in there. So always check, am I going to result in a negative? So make sure you got the signs correct. So -2. What's that going to be?
The square root of 1.
Which is 1. So just remember your square root rules. And then that's it. Any questions on this? Was you're right, the evaluating expressions. This is our first correct assignment.
Could I screenshot it, sir? Some of the
Oh
work?
yeah, that's fine. I mean, I'm gonna send it to you, but you can screenshot it.
Oh, you'll send it to me?
Mm-hmm.
I
Through
can already
Remind?
been taking pictures.
You'll send it to me through Remind, right, sir?
Yeah, so I'm gonna scan it to PDF and I'm gonna throw it in Remind
Oh,
with
cool.
with the YouTube video.
Cool. That's good. That's good.
So I'm gonna try every single time we meet to record and send you the anything I write down. But if I
That's
write it
good.
on the screen, it's only on the video, right? Obviously. Let me check the syllabus. I forget where we're supposed to be. Okay, so we finished all the stuff from last week just now. So we'll start one more assignment and we'll go from there. And then I'll let y'all do some homework. Let's take a 10-minute break. Guess come back at 4:35. Okay.
All right.
And then we'll do one more section and go from there. Can y'all see the homework?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay.
I see what you're showing.
All right. So this section they're talking about intervals and trying to figure out, okay, how do I represent this in math notation? We have two types of notation. The interval is pretty clear. So let's do that first. So if you see a bracket or a solid dot, that means you're including and starting right on that number. If you have a parentheses or an open dot, you're starting right after. So that's the difference. So here's a bracket. So you would put the bracket and it keeps going forever, right? So it's going from 1 to infinity. You never put a bracket on infinity. So I'm going to use this one, the one that has a bracket and a parentheses. So I'm starting at 1 and I'm going all the way to the right forever, and the right direction is positive. So positive infinity. Set builder. So this one, so basically we're going to represent this, but using math symbols. Use this guy right here. So this means X and then the bar such that what is X doing? Well, it's greater than or equal to, where is it? Here. X is greater than or equal to 1. So the first piece is what variable are we talking about? And then what is it doing? Well, it's starts at 1, that's what we put equal to, and it keeps going to the right. So greater than 1. That's it. Any questions on this first one?
Yeah, so with the set builder notation, the x and the x and greater or equal to 1, or no, like, yeah, greater or equal to 1. That's like the formula for it, right?
Yeah, so basically it's saying this is saying equal to 1 and everything after, right? Because this is including
Yeah,
1 and everything after. So mathematically, you'd say x is greater than 1 and equal to or equal to 1.
yeah. Okay.
Okay, so check this one out. This one says -5, but has parentheses. So here we're starting right after -5. So -5 is not part of it. So -4.999 is okay, but not -5. And it keeps going to the right forever. So we would use double parentheses for interval. So -5 all the way until infinity. And then set builder, you use this one. X such that what is X doing? Well, it's greater than X is greater than -5. So I don't include it, so I don't put equal to. Oops. Any questions on the notation?
Um, yes, I had a question. So these like the X's, they're always going to be there whenever we do the set builder notation, correct? Like the one in the beginning, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it just if they're using a different variable, just make sure you put it. But like if they're talking about y's or something, they say, oh well, y is doing this. Y the first part is what the variable we're talking about, then what is it doing? So you'd say y such that y is greater than -5, but it should be mostly x. Um, but but that's what that means.
Okay, thank you.
I have one.
Hmm.
So when it says greater than 5, that's implying that the infinite is always going to be greater than 5 because it's going in the positive number direction.
Yeah, if it's going in the positive, then that means positive infinity. If it's going
Okay.
the other way, like this next question, it would be negative infinity. So this has a parentheses, so both sides will be parentheses, but now the most negative goes first, all the way up until -4.47.
And
So
then in this case, no matter what, when we put in the builder notation, infinite just means plug in x, right?
yeah, so infinite means so interval notation is saying all these elements are part of the answer, everything in here. So between -4.47 and all the negative numbers, or everything below. So here you'd say x is less than.
Okay. So like for any number, just to simplify this, like let's say we're starting at 0 and then goes left or right, it would always be x less than 0 to make things simpler.
X less than 0 if we're going to the right.
Okay.
I'm sorry, left. Did I say right? Left. Okay. So I see a bracket. So the one on the right is always the largest number. So the largest number is this, or the least negative number.
Interesting. And then because it's negative, it would be negative infinity.
Yeah, and it keeps going to the left, so you'd be getting more and more negative. Parentheses always on infinity. Bracket only if they tell you or if there's a solid dot. Now, how do I put this as a math statement?
X less than or equal to negative 1.41.
Yeah. So this says everything below or equal to negative 1.41 is part of the set.
Okay, so the difference between the closed bracket and the parentheses is that the number that has the closed bracket is the dead stop or beginning, right?
Right. Right. That's where you're right on there. If it's parentheses, you're stopping right before. You get infinitely close, but you don't get there.
Okay, so if it was like 6 or like negative 6, it could be negative 5.9 repeating, but never 6.
Right.
Okay, and then on this one, it's just every other number, including like the negative 1.41. And
Right.
then,
Everything
okay,
below negative 1.41, including negative 1.41.
okay.
Okay, so now they're giving you a closeout section. So interval, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory because you can literally see it. 3 to 9.
Would this be X and then 3 less than 9?
Yeah, we're gonna need two statements to get it. Let me see how they want it. Yeah, they want it like this. So uh, the way I read this is X is between these two numbers. So put an equal to on the one that has a bracket and remove the equal to if it has a parentheses.
Okay. Yeah, this is what confused me on the homework.
Yeah, when you read it, it's like confusing. Oh, 3 is less than or equal to X, which is less than 9. Like, okay, it sounds weird, but I always think of it as X is between these values and it's closed off here and open there.
Okay,
That's all.
so when it shows a line like this, it's asking for the formula where you would plug in a number.
Yeah, it's basically a statement that gives you all the elements inside here, including or not including the endpoints.
Okay.
Are there any questions on number just
That's interesting how there's a 3 and then there's a 9. Um, again, I do have a question. The X and the 3, that comes from the fact that there's two numbers now, right? I just need a quick explanation on
Yeah,
it.
since we're not going only one direction, like before it was like, okay, X is bigger than 3 or X is less than 7 or whatever, right? Now we're saying we want all the X's between 3 and 9, but not including 9. So you have to write it this way. So this is basically everything in between 9 and 3.
That's interesting how the 3 replaced the X.
Yeah, so X is in the middle now. So
Yeah.
whenever you have a section like this, X will be in the middle.
All right.
I mean, technically you could say, well, you could make a logical statement and say X is greater than or equal to 3 and x is less than 9. You could say it that way too, but I don't think Alex would take it. There's no ands here. But this is the same thing.
Mhm.
Because if you do and, then they both have to be true. Otherwise, it would be false. Okay, so here's same deal. So bracket parentheses. Set builder. Oops. So you would say, uh, 0. Let's see here. There we go. So x is between 0 and 2, but you put a less than or equal to on the 0 because it has a bracket, regular less than on the 2 because it is a parentheses.
Yes. That's interesting though. So every time that happens, that number replaces the x and the x goes to the middle.
Yeah. Yeah, just think of it as whenever you're looking at stuff in the middle, put the x in the middle.
Yeah.
Now, if we're looking at two things outside, then the arrows would switch. I don't know if we have one of those. Let me see. No, I guess not. So here they just want you to graph it. Everything below -5 and equal to. So you would go to put a bracket at -5, and then you keep on going. Oh, I click this. Oh, okay. It's like that. That. I see. So you got to turn it off after, so it can stop doing that. So you click the direction and then turn it off, and then check. Okay, so how would you write this as an interval?
Maybe open parentheses on the left side with a closed bracket on the right side. Then it would be, I guess, negative infinity and then -5.
Yeah, that's right. Any questions on this last homework problem in assignment 3?
For this one, no, not that I know of. It looks like it makes sense to me.
I don't have any question either.
All right. All right, well, I'll stop the lecture here for now. So with the last 20, 30 minutes, work on the homework, and if you get stuck, let me know and I'll help you.
All right.
And I'll let you go at 5:25. Well, and I'll take roll at that point.
Can we turn off the cameras?
Yeah, that's fine. So let me know if you
Uh,
get stuck.
what assignment did you want us to do again?
The first three.
So you said 1 to 5 needs to be done by Monday, technically, or something like that. I started coming, I don't
Right. That
remember.
would be if you have 1 through 5 done, then you would be ahead.
Okay, 1 to 5.
Because I'm gonna finish 4 and 5 Thursday. So once I finish it, I expect it to be done shortly after.
Which
Okay.
assignments are you wanting us to do? The 1, 2, 3, or 4 and 5?
For now, 1, 2, 3. And
Okay.
then
What if we already did that?
if you did it, then let me take roll and you can head out.
Okay.
If we're like if we already did 1 through 5, do we just keep going or do we have to wait until?
No, I don't mind if you go. Just make sure you don't forget though.
Okay. But we could like continue on like doing the rest of the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then for next class, are we doing assignment number 4?
Next class we'll do 4 and 5.
Okay.
Maybe more, maybe not.
Where's the homework?
In Alex. So if you go scroll down, if you go to modules, you can click direct links into it, or you can click Alex on the left side.
Oh, all right. So I just have to get as many as I can right, and then I'll be good.
Yeah, if you finish 1, 2, and 3 by before I see you again, that'd be great. Who said it was finished? Was it
Carl Thompson. I thought you said we had to do this or 1, 2, 3 by the time we were meeting for class this
Yeah, I
day.
wanted you to try it out, and
Oh,
man, if it makes sense, great. If you got stuck, then you would figure it out when you got here.
okay.
I also completed all of mine as well.
Liana?
Yes.
Is
Okay.
what's the assignment called? Is it science 7B and 8?
That one is a respondus assignment. You need to do that we should have done that yesterday, but I'm talking about assignment 1, 2, and 3.
Oh, I can't. I don't know how to go to that.
The
I have to,
respondus you can't do it while in Zoom.
yeah.
Can you see assignment 1?
I see assignment number 7B and then assignment number 8,
Do
test
you
1.
see unit 1?
I'm having trouble trying to look for it, sir.
Okay.
Assignments, I'll go to that, see if I can find it. Okay. I see assignment 1 and assignment 2 and 3 all the way up down to 5. They're all open. Well, actually, all of them are open.
Yeah,
Try
they're all
looking at
open.
modules.
So what do I do, sir? Like, which ones do I do?
Here, let me show you how you should do it. Mine looks a little different, but here we go. Can you see the class of the canvas?
Yeah.
So the orientation should have been done last night. This is a link to tutoring if you need it, or you can go in person to get information. Here we have videos and notes explaining every section. And here are the blank notes, so you could print it and write along and take notes if you want to. 5-1, assignment 1, 2, and 3, these are the links that sends you into Alex to do them. We just finished talking about this today, these 3. So I'd like you to start working on it now and then whenever you can after class.
So get started on assignment 1, like
Yeah, 1, 2, and 3, get that done as soon as you can. The 1B that you're talking about, you need to install Respondus. Did you do that already?
yeah, I did all that. It's just I saw it at like some I saw it like on the calendar and it confused me, but I clicked assignments and I just saw everything I needed to see.
Okay.
So I think I'm good.